Hello everyone, my name is Notepad Anon and I write games for fun, and this is the featureless void from which we live. Now, hello Salmon, how are you doing today? Let me just get this correct. I need to go... Oh, that's the wrong page. We need to open you up first, then we can click this. Then we can click off of this, click this, then we can click this. There we go. We did it, everybody. We have the basic page set up now. So, hi everybody. I'm back. A little bit late today because I got affiliate. Yay! I got affiliate. Now, what does that mean? I don't fucking know. You don't sound like you're dying. That is true. I have relatively recovered. And I'm not still 110%, but I'm definitely feeling better than I was last week this time. Mostly, like, what's going on right now is just everything is draining from my nose. And my gut is finally kind of like saying, okay, I'm not dying as much. Though, I do have a new crack in my shoulder, which is fun. So if I roll my shoulder just right. Because what happens usually, in my right folder, I can feel there's three cracks that go. It goes 1, 2, 3 all the way down my shoulder. There's two more right at the end that isn't usual. How does it feel to be an affiliate? I don't know yet. I don't know. Honest to God, the big thing for affiliate that I wanted was the ability for you guys to turn down the quality of the stream. That's literally it. Because right now I stream at 720p, but what I would just for my voice more than anything, and for the video and YouTube. But if you guys like, what I would love to do is have you guys be able to like reduce it down to like 144 and just put it on in the background and not kill your internet. Because I know a lot of you guys aren't actually from the US or have not great internet, so you have unlocked 240p. Yeah, pretty much. Which apparently is like a big deal for a lot of streamers. And I'm happy though, I'm happy. It is an accomplishment. I put on a little list that I wanted to get affiliate status this year, and I got it. Now I have to work to partner, which means 500 subs. Yeah, 500 follows is when I become a real human being in the eyes of Twitch. So I only need 397 more. We're doing it. We can do it, folks. Let's see. So what changed actually in Satan Wore Snakeskin from last time? Well, the big thing that changed was ironically me deciding to say fuck it. No, you may be saying, but what does that mean, Notepad? Uh, well, effectively, I just said screw it to this and just changed a lot of this. I went over this last time, but it's just pretty much the idea. Instead of really creating the characters, you just choose what the characters are. That's really it. I also changed all the sample characters to Russian mobsters because I could. I need Manly to make me more images. I also, let's see, pretty much all of that. We're pretty good in that regard. So what needs to be done? Well, the big things that need to be done are all the cards today. Like these are, to me, these are what I want to get done today. I think I saw it. I don't think I got it though. I think I was on my phone when I saw it, and then I said I was going to grab it again. PM it to me, and I'll put it in. I'll slap it in here somewhere. So, but yeah, these are the main things that we need to do right here today. And on Wednesday, we'd be able to do the writer's room and the producer's desk. This is pretty much end game. This is what the actual game. This is actually the meat of the game right here. So, let's do that. As they say, let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. And, okay, we got another salmon picture. Another manly image. And let me just put him in here somewhere. Where would be a good place to put the supernatural boys. They're like the Hardy Boys, right? I've never watched Supernatural. It's like the Hardy Boys. There we go. We'll put them right here when it comes to character tropes. Actually make that a little bit bigger. There we go. God, they look so jank, and he looks like he's trying to wank. Okay, this is fine. This is what we do here. But yeah, oh wow, that looks terrible. There we go. This looks slightly less tough. Oh god, why does it look so janky? Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. We can't don't look at don't look at our problems. They can't hurt us. So, we got budgeting done last night, shooting. All right, so we're going to need to move on to here, and we're going to need to move on to plot cards. Because that's going to be the major thing here, which is we're going to do scene cards. So, let's see. A scene is composed of a series. A scene is composed of characters interacting with the current location and people in it. Everything outside of the characters. Outside of the characters are represented using a series of cards, preferably note cards, but anything works. These cards not only tell everyone in the scene who this character, what they are dealing with, but each card can also be tapped. Can we use the term tapped in this situation? Yes, we can. It can also be tapped into to gain a small bonus. So, I think like one example, I'm going to open up Miro, by the way, just because, Miro, give me a sponsorship. I'm officially affiliate. I just pay to find whatever TV shows I can remember. Yeah, pretty much. That's the goal. I watched a lot of Sopraznovs last night, trying just like piecing together things. So, let's see. We want to do. So, roughly speaking, like what I mean by this is we might look like something like. So, the scene, actually, the setting. Actually, the set is going to be the desert of Las Vegas. It's not actually the desert of Las Vegas. We're actually shooting in Morocco. However, we don't want to tell anybody that. And we'll just make that color. The set that's where the setting is currently. That's what we're going to be filming at. And we have a character here, and it's going to be we're going to say, what's a good Russian name at the top of my head? Oh, yeah. We have Rostov. He is a Nick, and he is, a loyal enforcer. He is a loyal enforcer 4. We're going to have, because I am creatively bankrupt, but no, I did not mean to do a quick diagram. No, Miro, stop helping. What would be another good random city game? Okay, we'll call it Novgorod. Actually, what would be another good city name? Random Russian city. Dubna. There we go. We're going to Dubna, everybody. We have Dubna. Popular. Yeah, we don't need you. Dubna. Dubna is our Twitchy enforcer. He's not very good at his job. And our final one, what would be the most appropriate? Let's see. Let's just go. Nadium. Then we have Nadim, who is going to be our dimwit enforcer. Dimwit enforcer 4. These are our 3 nicks, our non-important characters. They are important but they are people that we don't really need to worry about all that much. And we have one very important piece of item, our very important prop, which is going to be our tiny shitty. Actually, it's going to be Big Tony. Big Tony's Van of Mysteries. This is this, and we actually need to put in one more additional character, in which we're going to call Juan. I don't know. Juan is going to be Snitch. A snitch with no clue. And there we go. Here are, this is what a basic kind of like scene may look like to a basic set of characters. You open up the scene, this is what we have in front of us. Yeah, they're all city names. Get it? Rostov. That's the point, Manly, because we're the Russian mob. Don't think about it too hard. So this is what a basic idea might look like, and who owns what. So obviously we'll have our 2 characters here, which let me see if I can remember the fucking names of them. Oh yeah, Mankin Shroud's gonna be playing Sergey. And we'll say this is going to be a main character, which is going to be Sergey Orlov. And we just change him so everyone knows that he's a main character. And it would look like something like this, in fact. Because all of these guys are with him. All of them are Russian mob guys with Sergey. They're in the desert. Juan is currently in the back of Big Tony's Van of Mysteries, and they're going to try to interrogate him. So this is what this will look like. Now, in other situations, these, the NICs may be able to like switch over with other people, or just kind of subtract their loyalty. They're items, effectively. That's the best way to kind of put it. They are. No, it's Sergey. I don't worry. Manly, you don't understand. We don't have enough budget to actually get a real name, so it's Sergey. See, it's even better because, again, I have a Russian in chat, and having him lose his fucking mind with my great pronunciation of Russian names. You could feel the low-budget television show in this one. But these are our basic characters right here. These are our basic ideas. What a basic scene may be composed of. And you can already kind of see what's going on. We can even put in little Demo. We can even put in little Demo right here. So, again, everyone's here. And now, people are going to naturally vote for Sergey. However, they might say, Okay, Little Diva made this say, let's just pop him. Well, Sergey doesn't want to do that. So it may look like something like this eventually, where everyone's kind of siding with one character over another. And that's what you want to do, is you want to get Nicks following you and to do something. That's what that's about. Because remember, kids, if you follow everyone around, that's a good thing. Because you're the main character. You're the main character of your show. So, dealing with each card is going to be tapped to gain a small bonus in the scene. Set cards. Actually, the set. The broadest category is where the scene is taking place. Alongside all of the additional problems and issues that go alongside it. The set card is a trope unto itself with a value of 4, allowing characters to roll against it to find out information. With it, inside of it. Roll against it to find out information, interact, or generally understand it better. No, we want to do that with a value ranging from 2 to 5. No, yeah, 2 to 5. No, 2 to 6. Characters roll against find out information to interact, generally understand it better. When a set is used in a role, often as a description or as a method to do something, then the character adds +1 to their total amount of dice being rolled. The idea here is that if you're in the right place at the right time, by virtue of being there, you're going to have more benefits. Being at home, you're going to have loyal. I'm currently just Loyal Enforcer 3. I just passed my registry exam. Loyal Enforcer 3. Loyal Enforcer 4. So, pretty much, if let's say you are at your home. We're at Sergey's home. We're at the boss man's house. At the boss man's house, everyone holds themselves very differently. Everyone is being a little bit more regal. Everyone's a little bit more relaxed because we're on friendly ground. And if we want to learn more if you want to kind of press Sergey about some information, maybe he's going to be a little not as open. Or, hey, intimidating somebody in his own home is going to be a lot easier, based entirely off the idea that you are on hostile territory all of a sudden. You are on his turf, surrounded by his guys, and the only way out is a front door that you don't know where it is anymore. But being on the street kind of has its own advantages. And obviously we're on the street. You have both the narrative advantage of where you are located. You also have sometimes a little bit more mechanical advantages. Being in the back alley to dump a body means you can probably sneak a little bit better because it's the back alley in the middle of the night. Being in the You know, in the middle of the desert probably means you can interrogate people a little bit easier. Being in a location makes your life easier in addition to whatever it means to actually just be there. But it could also go both ways, as long as you can justify it making sense. You know, like in the desert, we are all exposed. Like if you can kind of go a little bit more poetic with it, which I should add that total amount of dice being rolled. These descriptions can be literal. Let's see. These descriptions can be literal. The dark alley allows us to not be seen, or more metaphorical. The crowded beach doesn't allow us to hide. Doesn't allow us to hide ourselves. Actually, I know. The nudist beach doesn't allow us to hide ourselves. There we go. So it's just the idea, like, you can't hide yourself anymore. You can work those in as a metaphor, as a metaphorical sense, or you can work them into being literal. It kind of is up to you. And I encourage you to think outside the box, because that's kind of like the 3 layers which you're playing as. Because that's the weirdest part about this game is you're technically playing 3 characters. You're playing the character, you're playing the actor playing the character, you're also playing the writer. You're playing one of the writers of the show, which is, you've already written this scene in, and everyone's acting out this scene that you don't quite know, but that's kind of the joke. We're talking about this big swaying metaphor. You could just completely forget about that part. We're just setting it at this scene because we need to be in this scene. But don't worry, that 3-hour long YouTube video is going to be posted on a theory video of how this is masterful writing. You wrote it because you need to be in a dark alley. He's interpreting as we have to cover our sins in the darkness, but we are always in this together. Yeah, no, that's literally what it's about. Actually, no. Plus adds +1 dice to the roll. It also allows you, if you have, from a gameplay perspective, this is from a designer perspective, that allows a character who has a 0 in something to roll something without having to go with crew dice. So if you're in the right place, right time, even if you're not a very skilled actor, you can also just tap in a little bit and maybe get something you normally wouldn't. It can be literal, the dark, or metaphorical. How do I want to word this? How do I want to word it? The only time the set cannot be used in a role is when a character is departing the set. It actually is leaving. Actually, the only time the set cannot be used in a role is when the character is leaving the scene. Leaving behind potential of the bonus. Actually, them leaving indicating they're no longer. Actually, no, that's not how I want to word that. So, see, the deserts of Las Vegas might be deserts of Las Vegas, like 4. Actually, let's say it'll be 5. If you want to learn anything about the desert of Las Vegas currently, you're going to have to roll against a 5, which is pretty easy in that particular little patch of ground. But it's also like, why do you need to learn anything about the desert of Las Vegas? So the set is universal. Anyone can use this particular thing. Anyone can use it. And so the set is also actually Tori. Anyone in the scene can use the set. Can use the set. Anyone in the scene can use the set. Good for real. Okay, then we have to do, it would be a Nick card. Well, actually, it's going to be a non-important character card. Non-important characters. A non-important character. A non-important character is, which does not have a full character card written. Actually, that's a terrible fucking way of putting it. Does not have a full casting sheet for them. Instead being composed for them, or having a named actor. You have an actor, however, it's not a main character. It's not one of the players playing them. That's kind of the idea. So we're having in full casting sheet for them. They do not have any actor talents. And are built to be side characters. Built to be side characters. An NIC. Actually, no, not important character. A Nick. A Nick card has the name, a single trope of the character, and possibly some vague information about them. And that vague information can be, something like, hello, like Dubna here. I'm just going to put this into white just to kind of indicate this might be the back of the card. Dubna is 32, tall, and built like a brick shit house. Speaks Ukrainian. Or, Rostov here is 46, been with Sergey forever. And Nadim is 42, half Russian, and he's half Russian, half Greek. Speaks both fluently, but has garbage English. There we go. This is what the side information is. It gives you a little bit of an information about who these characters are immediately. You may, like, not him is like, yeah, he's this dimwit. He's a fucking idiot. He's just this dumb character. But he speaks 2 languages fluently. Is he really stupid, or is he just doesn't know how to speak English very well? No one really knows. If you want to expand on that character some more, cool. Give us some more information about them. They're blank slates for you, both in terms of the characters and both in terms of the actors and the writers, i.e. you as well, to kind of give them some more personality. They are very open. They are very blank slates, and you kind of give them more information. Some vague information about them. This information can be added onto. added onto by the actors and and writers. But a Nick will never have more than one trope. They will always be their one thing, but that one thing can change, obviously. You know, people may love Nadia. People love Nadia because he's just this weird character that shows up every now and again. And people that the players have been gradually giving him more and more just weird backstory and weird information. And they keep succeeding with his roles to give more information out of him. So they kind of learn that he's just this jack of all trades Superman who can do everything, but he can never speak English properly, and he always comes off like a fucking idiot. Hidden moron, secret badass kind of thing. It's well, have more than one trope. Main and side characters can have nicks in their quote pocket. Actually can have nicks alongside, joining them as either allies or simply being on their side. When giving, quote unquote, giving their trope to the character in question. For example, actually we'll do. For example, Rostov is an old Russian mob enforcer. Loyal enforcer 4, and he's accompanying Sir to a particularly dangerous meeting. Sergey has the Loyal Enforcer 4, has the Rostov Loyal Enforcer 4 trope, allowing him to roll his action talent to have Rostov be cool. To have Rostov pull off some tricky business should things go haywire. And this is also kind of one of those things, you can apply this to a lot of different kinds of settings. If you want to do something, comedic, it's kind of the idea that you're having these characters who bounce off one another. I have these three characters that we are now kind of making jokes in this thing together. You kind of see this with a lot of kind of comedy, like sitcom shows, where you'll have a group of characters who are together, who are bouncing off one another. But you always see that every now and again, a character that just is not part of that and isn't bouncing off one another, that isn't part of the joke, or maybe the target of the joke. That's kind of one of the big things. It's the difference between we're kind of going back and forth, able to kind of crack these jokes at one another, versus someone being the ass of the joke, or being kind of a part of it, still in the same scene, but not part of the joke. Ow. Or you may end up in situations like this, where it's like people are going back and forth, and who owns the twitchy enforcer? Who's going to make that call suddenly? Like, who can control him? Is it going to be Dima, who is a registered knife man who wants to fucking kill the guy? Sergey, who wants to not kill him? You can have that drama there, and sometimes people are going to just go where they believe, and sometimes they're not, and other times someone might just say, no, I'm not going to be a part of it, so no one gets their thing. Should a Nick perform an action perform an action. They will roll. They will roll. How do I want to do this? Okay. They roll two. They'll roll 1d. They'll roll 2d6 for their talent against their trope. Actually, no. Should Nick perform an action, it will occur unless stopped by another character. Often rolling with their unless stopped by another character, in which case you'd be rolling your own attribute. Actually, yeah, no, I should put that in. Actually, Nyx will not roll dice unless they're actually Nyx will never roll dice if they are not connected to a main or side character. If they are alone, they are a force that can act against other characters. But they won't roll for it. So it might be something along the lines of Nodim's gonna shoot the guy. He's gonna shoot the guy unless somebody stops him. Some you may want to, you may not want to. Sergio may have to pull up like his mob boss and like, I'm gonna roll against my mob boss. He rolls it and I force him to, put down the gun effectively. That's what it is. It's kind of a little bit more on that PBTA bullshit, but I wanted to get a little bit more idea. These aren't characters. These aren't main characters. These aren't you, the actors. But if you indirectly want to play these characters, that's what you're doing. You're having to kind of have them join you. They're in your camp effectively. Ooh. Ow. Shoulders, please. Actually, they will not. Okay, so Nick, and then we have to do prop cards. When a significant item is in play, it is considered a prop card. These prop cards are important items that change the nature of the scene. Or indicate an important facet of it. So, for example, here in our thing here, we know that prop Big Tony's Van of Mysteries is important because one is in the back of Big Tony's Van of Mysteries. And we also know that currently that might be the only car in the area. You might be the idea of like, okay, here, maybe these guys came, a few of these guys may have came together, but like, we're going to need someone has to drive the van home effectively. What do you do if you pop someone in the back of it? Mostly because it's not any of your guys' van, it's somebody else's. Let's see, or indicate an important facet of it. These items can be interacted with or taken. In which case, not only does the character have the narrative power of possessing that item, a gun can shoot people. A car can drive. Let's see, a gun can shoot people, a car can drive, a suitcase has the MacGuffin in it, or the coat isn't the right coat. Let's see it. Power of possessing that item. They also have a +1. They also have a +1 to their tropes when interacting with it. Actually, when interacting with the item. Interacting or using the item. So you have a higher chance of doing things. If you have a trope of, let's say you're a gunman, and you have the only gun in the scene. You have the revolver. You know, the ultimate kill revolver. And you have a gunman of 5, it raises to 6, which means you will never fail. Anything you roll is going to be a success. So maybe you want to burn everything to make that shot look as impressive as possible. You know, it's you bringing it up and you shooting the guy with the only gun there. You might have, you know, dull equipment that is present, but, like, that's going to be the big item. That's the one that changes things. Let's see, +1 to the tropes when interacting or using the item. There can also be other mundane bits and bits strewn that each character has. If it does become relevant, it's given its own prop card. Prop card to symbolize its importance. You know, for example, if little Dima came in a car with the 3 other guys, the fact that he has the keys, we're not going to talk about he has the keys. But if he makes a point about it being like, I have the keys, suddenly keys to Dima's SUV is a prop. That's now a prop item. That's something important. And that could be something that we need to worry about now. That's important. Think ahead. Because I'm trying to think of it. It also serves somewhat as like a Chekhov's gun mechanic. You indirectly want to make a Chekhov's gun. Put it in here. Put a prop in the middle of the table and don't explain why it's there. It's just there. And for those who don't know what a Chekhov's gun is, Chekhov's gun is a narrative device in which there is an object which does seem that it's not important, only for it to be later important. It comes from a book. I can't remember the exact book, but it's described very early on that there is a gun on the mantelpiece. And at the very end of the story, he gets the gun and he shoots the guy. Because he knows there's that gun there. It's established very early on that there's a gun on the mantelpiece. And at the very end, the gun becomes useful. You can establish little things like that with prop cards. And that's what I want prop cards to be like. So it's given its own prop card, symbolize importance. For example, a character may mention. Actually, for example, mentions they have. They need to transport. That they need to. Actually, what would be a good one? They need a special coat. That they need a coat that night. However, their special coat has been taken by their friend. By their friend. Special code has been taken by their friend earlier in the scene. As they leave. Suddenly, that coat becomes a plot card in whatever scene it currently is in. As it's the center point of as it becomes a reoccurring joke by virtue of just having the special coat. Everyone wants the special coat. We need to get the special coat. Cue laugh track. Da 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 da. The gift keeps changing hands, so we've got all the scene cards. Actually, I should do a side note on Ascended NICs. We can do that, and then we'll do a note on Ascended NICs. Oh, excuse me, Ma. Ascended Nicks. Should a Nick become a favorite, showing up regularly, and given more time in the spotlight, they may become an Ascended NIC. An Ascended Nick it become gives them actually, how do I want to word this? Actually, Ascended NIC can have one additional trope. And has 4 actor talent. And has 3 actor talent dice. Actually has 3 talent dice in one category. The ascended Nick can roll by themselves now and operate as a quote lesser character in some aspect. Not quite a side character. Actually, not quite on the same caliber as a player character. But granting them a bit more autonomy in scenes they are in. Let's see. Should have Ascended Nick grow even more popular? It may behoove the producer. Actually, it may behoove the director Director to upgrade them to side character, granting them a casting sheet. A casting sheet with a full amount of stats. And issues to deal with. So it's pretty much like you like a basic character may look like, let's just say, for example, top of my head, let's say we're dealing with a man named Adrian Holt. Hadrian Holt he might start off like as a Nick, for example, as a non-important character. He may be funny, funny neighbor man. Funny neighbor man 4. He makes the funny neighbor man jokes. That's like literally his entire thing. In Ascended Nick, he's Hadrian Holt. He's funny neighbor man, and then perpetual. He's funny neighbor man 4, perpetual, omniscient Chin 3. He knows way too much about literally everything, and he might have comedy. He might have comedy 4. He might have comedy 3. That's the idea. And then finally, his full thing he might have 2, 3 more. He might have like another trope, and he gets a full thing with comedy 3 already. Or comedy being his highest. That's how I would do it. Just the idea of like you can kind of slowly promote a character up, even if they aren't necessary. And this does also mean that you can try to run this game solo. Like if you really want to try to run this game solo and just effectively build a mediocre television show by virtue of being alone, this is what a majority of what your side characters are going to be. They're going to be Ascended Nicks instead of just standard Nicks. Yeah, so yeah. Is there any other side notes I need to deal with? I should say side note, multiple sets. Sometimes a scene may have two sets, and inside/outside. For example, a character can only tap. Oh god, I'm getting pain. A character can only tap one set at tap one set at a time for its bonus. Though the other side may be able to gain some of the benefits of the other if the character makes a convincing argument. We're outside the home, we're inside the home, da 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 da. There we go. We got some more manly art. This is what I deal with. This is actually, I'm curious. This is just out of pure curiosity. Animal actors or props? Like, So you so you ask for it, you get bad Russian TV. See, obscure, like, yeah, no, this works perfect. Mutar. I too like Mutar from Russian television shows. God, why does he look so creepy? What is with that? What is with that eyes? Oh God. Wait, is this a crime-solving dog? Tell me this is a crime-solving dog. I love it. It's great. How little we knew. The crime-solving Russian dog. He is a crime-solving dog. Yes, perfect. That's what we need. See, I'm curious now. Is it's like, does a dog like do animals count as? Actually, I'm gonna put a note here. Side note. Side note. Animals on set. Animals on set. Uh, technically, by Hollywood standards, a animal is considered a prop for the purposes of Satan wore snakeskin. Snakeskin. For the purpose, treat all animals as a nick. There we go. There we go. And other weird notes that Hollywood does, because Hollywood is filled with very weird things. Insert table 1 to 1, and then we do side note, multiple sets. Hey, sometimes you can stretch it out. And that's what you want to do sometimes. You want to stretch out like you're just one set to multiple reasons, like why it's there. And that's perfectly justifiable. So an animal is considered a prop for the purpose of more snakeskin. Manly salmon and the dog and his crime-solving dog. Let's see. Actually, can I just put them all here? I can put them all here. Haha, I'm a genius. We do that, and since we go all the way back up here, hello. Okay, we need to do the scene rating system. Okay, now this is where things are going to get a little bit weird. So, scene ratings. Using sophisticated algorithms. Using sophisticated algorithms and technology. Using sophisticated algorithms and technology, the studio can track scene by scene. The rating, the current ratings of the show. So the ratings indicate how many people are watching and how many are staying tuned in to watch those ads. The more eyes on the show, the healthier it looks. It looks and a healthy and a healthy show. Healthy show is a multi-season show. It's a multi-season show. A character at the start of the episode. How do I want to word this? Actually, at the start of the episode, the ratings are at their actually I wouldn't say peak, but I want to say the ratings are at their height, max. How do I want to word this? Pretty much the idea is that you are kind of starting off very high. Yeah, at the highest, I guess that would be the correct term. You see, at the start of the episode, the ratings are at their highest. Because I want to say because the idea is that they can raise mid episode, but it's just going to be a lot harder to raise them. So being actually are at some of the highest, at the natural highest they can be currently. The natural starting point is ranges from 20 to 30, representing a floundering, representing the power of the marketing and show in general. Actually, younger audiences, actually younger focused shows have a higher viewer count, have a higher initial viewer count. Actually, how do I want it? Let's have highest, show ratings highest point. How do I want to do this? Ratings throughout in episode. What am I looking for? Okay, so actually, no. Ranges from 20, representing marketing and pre-show shenanigans. If the actors go and say, watch the new episode tonight, people are going to watch it a little bit more. However, these are going to how I'm thinking is that ratings are going to go a rating from 0 to 5 is catastrophic. You know, that this is catastrophic tier. Like, actually, no, it'd be, we'll do 1 to 5, which is atrocious. That means like nobody's watching the show anymore. Atrocious, which is lose -3 max budget. 0, which is actually we should say is 0 or less, which is going to be a catastrophe. Lose -6 max budget. Because, let's see, pitch and production. You're going to find 1 to 20 should fall below 1 budget. Because you have to spend your budget. Yeah, true. I'm just writing this down. I just want to get a good idea of it. Because the idea is that because the cycle is you spend budget on that episode. You go through the episode. And any goofs you make. Because the idea is any goofs you make, any problems that you go through, you might take away from your overall budget. But you always get your total budget back. The idea is like you always are getting your budget back. So you go through the episode, and then you do writer's room, in which you get all the spent money back. However, again, it's the idea that you might be losing a lot of budget, or you might gain some. So, however, let's say we have 8 budget. We spend 6 of it. We spend 6 of our budget. We go through the episode. Oh no, we do 3 goofs. There are 3 gaffes. Someone says fuck on the children's television show, and it's us like rolling back the clock a little bit, refilming scenes, but the producer's taking money away. But we succeed at 2 producer requests. So overall, 2 producer requests. So we get a little bit of money back. So in the writer's room, we're going to get back our 6. We're going to get back the 6 we spent. However, we lost 1. So our total 8 is now 7. So our total budget is now 7. Because we made some mistakes and we lost some money. The idea behind ratings is, so let's say we do this, we spend that money, we have the same 3 gaffes, 2 producer requests, but then we, overperform, you could say, and we get +2. Our full budget is going, our budget, we get our 6 +2 back, so we instead come out on top with 9 budget. If we underperform, we may not get that money back. We may lose some from our kind of like our base amount of money. That's why I'm like, actually lose. No, okay, lose all invested budget. Lose half of invested budget. We'll do 6 to 10. Mediocre. Disappointment. Lose -3 of invested. Actually, we'll do -2 invested budget. And then we do 11 to 15, which is mediocre, which is going to be -1 invested budget. And then we have our delightfully average. This is delightfully average, which is just you get return invested budget. But it's a big gap. And then it's going to be 26 to 35, which is above average, plus 1 invested budget. 36 to 45, which is going to be pretty good, plus 2 invested budget. And then we do 46 to 55 plus, which is awesome. Awesome. Plus 3 invested budget. So if you do so, okay. So pretty much you want to balance your ratings. You want to have a high natural ratings by the end of the show. Unless we do it scene by scene on like average, that could work. So if you start off pretty high and just fall off near the end, as people just stopped watching the show near the end of the episode, get the idea like on average we did pretty damn good, or like on average like these scenes did phenomenal. What made these scenes good? Okay. Representing marketing and pre-show shenanigans. There we go. No, 10 to 30. Disappointment. Representing marketing, pre-show shenanigans. Every scene. Let's see, every scene has the characters. Okay, every scene has the characters. And actual starting from every scene has the character's role. Actually, every scene the characters will do their best to advance the plot while making interesting things occur. Every time they build plot power. Plot power by succeeding or the requirement by number of successes over. Plot power is directly invested back into show to mitigate the loss of ratings. Actually, plot power can be held up, can be burnt to mitigate ratings loss, or spent at a rate of 2 to 1, actually at a rate of 1 to 1 to gain additional dice for checks. Actually, spend at a rate of spent at a rate of 1 to 1 to gain additional dice for checks, or used to, let's say, add facts or idea, add facts to the scene, add facts to the scene they are part of. So we want to do a side note right here, adding making an addendum. Making an addendum. The character may spend plot power to make an addendum. Then make an addendum, changing in aspect, changing a small detail of the set. Actually, changing small details of the scene for appropriately dramatic reasons, or to justify a plot hole. Or to justify plot holes. Dramatic reasons, justify plot holes. Or add a new piece of information to a NIC/prop. Small changes cost only 1 plot power. Actually, I should say is unstated facts now stated cost only 1 plot power. It's night because no one said it wasn't night. Unstated facts now stated costs only 1 plot power. Addings new information. Major facts cost 2 plot power. Mr. Nguyen can't speak English. And game changers cost 3 plot power. Actually, I should say is and significant plot changes cost 3 plot power. I have the key. Actually, the car will not work. Actually, the car doesn't have keys in it. Once stated, the fact cannot be overridden by. Once stated, the fact cannot be overridden by more expenditure of plot power. But if the majority of the group feels it's a bad addition, they may veto it. The plot power is still spent. But no one gets anything. But nothing happens. If this happens too much, reduce the budget by 2. Stop fucking around in the writer's room. Yep, that's how I'm going to justify it, being like, it's literally you fucking around in the writer's room. Like, guys, don't worry. This makes complete sense. Or, oh god, how do we justify this? What the hell? No, Steam. No. Bad Steam. Do not open. Okay, so now that you've been added in, feel a little bit more. Every time they build plot power, they are. Actually, no. Well, making interesting things occur. The more interesting things occur, the longer eyes are on the screen. Eyes are on the screen, according to Nielsen. Is that the Nielsen rating? Yeah. According to Nielsen. When the scene ends, roll 2d6. Actually, when the scene ends, roll 2d6. That is how many people are tuning off. Are turning goodbye. Hello phone are turning off the show and doing something else. Actually, no. Actually, when the scene ends, determine if significant events or interesting situations occurred. If the show is following its formula and producing results, roll 2d6 minus 2d6. Actually, I'm going to do 2d6 minus 2d6 to determine the number of people tuning in or walking off. This is the average drop. This is just the average drop off. People just leaving. Because turns out people just might turn off the show. Or I don't want to watch this ad, and they'll turn it off and they'll watch something else. Or they just have to turn off the TV to leave. Because turns out people do that. So let's do this. I'm gonna roll my 2d6 over here. I'm gonna roll my 2d6 over here. I rolled a 6 over here and a 9 over here. Actually, I rolled 12 and 9. So 12 minus 9 is 3. We actually gained 3 viewers. People wanted to keep watching. People are that interested. We gained more than we lost, or we just gained viewers. Determine the number of people tuning in or walking off. This is the average. This is the average replacement and gain. People just leave. People just leaving, coming and going. During extreme results, this can change in both directions. The tune-in, value, the first one, can be increased when the show is when things are going amazingly well. Great acting, great plot advancement, killer jokes, the works. When the actors have pretty much, we'll say 10 plus, actually 5 plus, 10 plus plot power by the end of the scene. When the actors have plus 10 plot power by the end of the scene. Actually, when the actors killer jokes, the works, the actors spent actually no, let me see. We'll do the making interesting things occur. Interesting things occur. This builds up plot power between all of the characters. This builds up plot power between all of the characters. At the end of the scene, all the plot power gained will go into determining scene rating. Scene ends, determines significant events occurred. The show is following forward, producing results. Roll 2d6. Determine the number of people tuning in or walking off. It's the average placement in game. People just bring extreme results. This can change in both directions. Tune-in value. The tune-in value can be increased when things go amazingly well. Fantastic act, great plot. For every 10 plot power gained, add an additional d6 to that roll. The tune-off value increases when the characters score either no plot power actually let's see increases for a variety of reasons when things start getting dull. When things get dull, nonsense occurs. Characters stop advancing the plot, or start failing or for every character who fails to amass any plot power, increase the die by d6. So the idea would be, let's say you guys do actually very well. We've scored a lot of plot power this scene. We've just done well. We scored 15 plot power in total. I have to add another d6. Cool, we're doing pretty good. However, we've maybe made a few mistakes because this entire scene was just a clusterfuck. things were going on. It lasted a little bit too long. People weren't really doing things. We got into an argument halfway through. You know, everyone was just trying to do things, and things didn't really feel very natural. Our 3d6 gain has to go against our 5d6 loss. So let's just roll real fast. Okay. Oh, that's not very good. We gained we gained 6. We gained 6. Let's see what we rolled in this one. That's more than 6, everybody. We scored 15. We scored 18. So we've lost 12 viewers because we just fucked up. We didn't do very well. We lasted too long. That entire scene was just bad. We did well. Like, we scored a lot of points, but it just didn't make any sense. Like, it wasn't a very good scene. Increase the number of dice by 1. Actually added additional. Lose viewers as time goes on, simply due to time. At the midpoint of the episode, the show. Let's see. At the midpoint of the episode, the natural 2d6 tune-in bonus value is reduced to 0d6, as actually reduced to 1d6 representing people not wanting to tune into a show that's almost done. Into a episode. At the end of the episode, calculate the average ratings of all of the scenes. Calculate the average ratings of all of the scenes to determine the final ratings of the show. Final rating of the show. Rating of the episode. So let's say we start at 20. We go up to 22, we go up to 20, 23, we fall to 19, we gain an additional 20, but then we start going down pretty hard. We hit about there at the very end. So this is kind of our final assortment. So our final thing. So if we want to go to the calculator, let's go to a calculator real fast. So it would be 20. So it would be 20 plus 22 plus 23 plus 19, 20, 17 plus 13 equals that. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 scenes. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. And we had an average rating of 19. Not the best, not the worst. We did pretty average. Let's see. Final ratings of the episode. Adding in the special effects budget. If there is any remaining. When the ratings come in, the budget, the invested budget is calculated and handed back. And handed back to the show, possibly. So, 0 less, we'll do dash catastrophe, 1 to 5. Actually, no, we want to do, let's go here. Actually, no, we want to put you here. We want to do this just to make sure I get all my. So we want to do ratings value. So we want to do average rating. Average ratings. Description. Actually, title. And effect. So the average rating, from the average rating, 0 or less. Title. Catastrophe, lose all invested budget. Let's see, 1 to 5. Atrocious. Actually, let's do something. Let's do 0. Actually, it'd be -4 to 0. -5 to 0. Catastrophe. Lose all your invested budget. -6 to -6. -6. Actually, -10 and below. Art. Gain all budget back. Actually, return invested budget. Serious producer conversations. There we go. If you end up with a -10 average rating, you've officially hit you've hit cult status effectively at that point, because you're so atrociously awful. Your show is so astronomically bad. You've managed to attract people to watch it just because of how fucking awful it is. And guess what? We're making money off of that. Let's see, atrocious. Lose. Actually, no. Return crew invested budget. But you lose everything else. Let's see. -2 to invested budget, but you get it back. 11 to 15. Mediocre. -1 to invested budget. 16 to 25, which is going to be an average. Return. Obviously, you want to do really good. You want to get above average just so you have kind of more of a leeway. Add +1 to invested budget. Yep, there we are. Perfect. Perfect. I got a Kramer. There we go. We'll put a budget Kramer right here. With a not important character mobster talking about mobsters. He's beautiful. Also, if you want to run Seinfeld in this, it's entirely possible to run the Seinfeld experience in this game. I've just unfortunately realized that. And then we have to do side note. This seems complicated. It's a lot of words. It's a lot of words to say when you finish a scene. Roll 2d6 minus 2d6 to determine how many to increase or decrease ratings. When in doubt, arbitrarily increase or decrease the dice being rolled in that equation. When you're feeling spicy, or simply want to watch the world burn. If any player questions you on why you're reducing their ratings, simply state a new show came on a different channel. A new show premiered on a different channel. Fate is a fickle mistress and sometimes doesn't like the unlucky. Because it's entirely possible you can do everything right and still come out the losing end of this. That's one of the big things. It is entirely possible to do everything perfectly right and still get fucked up. Hey, if you want to do more, go for it. I can probably do a few. I have a few ideas that I want to kind of put in. Yours are pretty solid, so I like yours. But I have a few ideas of what I want to do. I'll just probably make some of my own just to do that. But I'm trying to like write the game right now. This seems complicated. Reminds me of that. See, it reminds me of that one. There's one line someone they were like a hiring manager, where the first thing they do is they take half the resumes and throw them in the garbage can, being like, I don't like unlucky people. So, also, don't do that, hiring managers. You're an asshole if you do. Okay, so we want to do star power. Let's find... because I've mentioned star power before. I haven't really mentioned what the hell it is. So star power. Star power is the actor's innate ability to pull their weight in the studio and abroad. In the studio, and among others. In a scene when they are in a scene instead of using plot power to gain additional ratings, they may instead spend 5 plot power to gain a single star power. Star power can also be gained by simply good role playing, good acting. Actually, by simply good acting, drama, or playing to the scene phenomenally, playing to the scene incredibly well. Kind of the idea that the game master can award you star power by virtue of just doing what you're supposed to do, by getting into character, by really showing people what you're about, and, you know, kind of playing the game 110 degrees. Being invested in the game means you're going to get more star power. But you also have the mechanical edge of saying you can spend your plot power that you've gained, gain star power if you want, which is the idea of, I've acted really well, I've done my job really well, I'm gonna kind of trade in a little bit of that, a little bit of eyes on the show and a little bit more eyes on me, where you can kind of argue that a things like Walking Dead, that kind of pops up in my head right away. Like in Walking Dead, for example, you could argue that what's his name? Norman Reedus. Norman Reedus did that a lot. He boosted his star power instead of contributing to the ratings, because he already knew the ratings were going to be high. So he's like, okay, instead of kind of using that plot power kind of to increase it by just a little bit, I am instead going to dump it into me to build up my star power a little bit more, to allow me to have a little bit more presence. And presence is good. You can also gain by simply good acting, playing to the scene incredibly well. Star power is the actor's overall ability as actors' power and pull, allowing them to power over the show and the studio. Star power, actually, when an actor can use their star power to change the nature, can change the fortune of themselves or the show on and off the camera by using a star power. By using a star power, the actor can ignore a gaffe. Such as swearing in a children's show. The idea being like, oopsie doo. It stops being like, you fucking idiot. It's like, oopsie doopsie. Don't worry, everybody. Just don't do it again. Wag's finger, you're too important to this production. The actor can ignore a gaffe. Producer requests producer requests, and make a, and actually increase the ratings by +5. Actually, no. Let's do, and increase the ratings by +10. So it's just kind of the idea of, Jawsome. Yeah, we want to extend you just a little bit. Then we want to extend, then we want to shrink you to about there. There we are. Then we do that. I didn't mean to hit that button. We do that. We do. They give you all these new table options, and I really like it, but sometimes it's like, please stop. Overflow across pages. They allow you to change that? Oh, sweet mother of God. Google, please. You can only do so much. It'll make me love you again. Google Senpai, please. Now, can you give me proper formatting options? That'd be pretty poggers. Can I increase this to 12? No, I just want to do you. There we go. There we are. And this seems complicated. Cool. Oh god. Fucking TTS thing. Ugh. Hello. I cannot pronounce your name. I'm so apologies. I will attempt to let one ether dash one. Ta-da! That's the first. That's the best you're getting. Hello. Sorry if I'm a little bit quiet right now. I'm reading on what happened to Tabletop Simulator recently, which is a little bit odd. Also, looking at that, I cannot tell that language. I wanted to initially say Korean, but I'm pretty sure that's not Korean. But yeah, the thing with Tabletop Simulator going on recently, that's a little bit weird. Oh god, I don't think Berserk Games handled that excessively well. For those who don't know, Berserk Games is the one who owns Tabletop Simulator. Tabletop Simulator recently put out a big thing with global chat, which is pretty much it's a moderation policy. It's to say, don't post weird shit. Don't post your furry ERP games in fucking general chat. Don't say the gamer word in general. Not exactly like the most extensively like, oh no, you shouldn't do that. Not exactly the scariest thing in the world. Don't think about it too hard. However, that someone was pretty much asked to stop because they were talking about being gay. They were talking about being trans and such. The reason they got was because the moderator in question, this is also on the Discord, which was the moderator in question pretty much said, don't talk about sexuality, politics, or fetishes. That was the part that they were talking, that they were citing, sexuality, politics, or fetishes. Now, there's two approaches to this. Either A, this was done by the book, someone who was going completely by the books. If you can kind of blame one of three people. You can either blame Berserk Games with the policy was stated in a way of don't talk about your sexuality, don't talk about politics, or don't talk about fetishes. Don't talk about anything which you can interpret as don't talk about anything sexual in nature. Which saying I'm trans isn't inherently sexual. It is, however, also associated with sexuality. That's just kind of it. It's like it's if you go under that interpretation, like it's just the idea of like this is someone's sexuality. We have a rule saying don't talk about sexuality, don't talk about it. And then people got mad. You can blame it on the moderator in question, which is just they misinterpreted what it was kind of meant to be about, and the idea behind like don't talk about sexuality, fetishes, or politics being more along the lines of let's talk about let's talk about my oh god, like let's talk about my love of feet or something in fucking general. Like don't talk about feet being a foot lover and fucking that, or don't talk about being a lolicon or something. Very different contexts, very different ideas, very different concepts that this particular moderator either didn't understand or chose not to understand. Very much that personal moderator's issue. The other one is that it's the person requesting it's their fault, which is more along the lines of you need to kind of view the chat logs and you need to kind of view like you have to ask why were they bringing it up? In what context were you bringing this particular thing up? Is it important to talk about? On one hand, you could say, yeah, it may have been pertinent to talk about. Like someone asked, like, hey, what's this? I mean, like, I'm trans. And being like, okay, that's fine. But if you're like kind of bringing it up in conversation randomly, like as a trans person, I could see there being an issue. Like you may be just wanting to start shit. I don't know. What I've read has been kind of mixed. I would say that it is probably the least in terms of Berserk Games' fault. I think that is like the least likely possible candidate, simply due to them having a really bad response. Like, I honestly think it is like to a degree, Hexen. There is you could like you could talk about like Berserk Games had like their policy was kind of broad and they could have refined it down and they could have had a better approach to it. But I think it was very from we're going to put this policy in here so people don't talk about their foot fetish. I think that's what they wanted to avoid. Don't talk about your foot fetish in a game where kids play pretty actively. Don't talk about it. Don't look at it. Don't think about it. Like, that's just a thing that you should not do. But, like, what do you do when someone brings up, like, I'm trans? I don't really think that was a part of their equation in their head that someone would ever think about that. So that leaves, like, is it the moderator's fault? Is it this person's fault that's kind of accusing them? That's where things get a little bit more complicated. I am saying, from what I've read, it was probably the moderator being a little bit judicious when it comes to the policy. And if you wanted to approach it right, it would, like, yeah, exactly. That's where the first one, that's where, like, it's the person reporting its fault comes in. And that's in that entire thing. Like, you deliberately said this because you knew it was, like, you, like, what was the point? Unless you, but if you were, I think it was more there, just a kind of more of a judicious policy, and not having probably the proper training to deal with it well. Because you could say, like, if it was an automated bot saying, you said this, do not say this, blah blah blah, go to the Discord, why did I get banned for talking about this? The right approach would be, our bot detects terms in certain contexts. You mentioned that in a certain context, the bot was probably thinking you were trying to sprout trans hate. Like, they were probably detecting something it didn't understand because it is a robot and not a human being. Because Berserk Games isn't a massive 10 million man company. I didn't really see. They kind of implied both directions. Maybe it was in one of the articles, but they got into it with one of the moderators in the fucking chat. So again, that's a, like, you could have handled it a lot better and just said, again, apologies, we'll reinstate your account. Just understand what you're saying, and the fact that our bot is very smart but also a robot and doesn't understand those things. Yeah, no, and now what's going on is that TTS is getting review bombed versus, and then in context they're now getting review upped by people in both sides of the spectrum, which is just, and I'm going to say this in the most honest way possible for everyone to understand, a big retard hoedown. It's just that. Like, honest to God, I still have no idea why there's a general chat and like, for that particular game, unless it's like, if you were to, like, build an entire chat, like, dedicated to, like, if you post anything out of topic of, like, just looking for a group or something, you get banned. If that was one thing, and then you mentioned, like, trans people only, then it'd be like, who fucking cares? Like, I don't really care. As long as you were to, like, recruiting message, that's one thing. But that's impossible to moderate. That's the thing. Like, it's impossible to moderate TTS because it's so big with so much shit in it. But it's like, I think even attempting it, because then you end up in a weird case where you end up in the, like, internet wasteland, where it's just like, we have zero moderation because we do not care, or you have some moderation and try to apply that to everybody. And yeah, that's all it is. It's just internet drama bullshit and part of this fucking culture war, which we can never escape from. God help us all. Kill me. As a fellow culture warrior. I still remember that fucking line. I got that fucking line on a video once and I laughed my ass off. As a fellow culture warrior, I didn't want to tell that guy to shut the fuck up, you fucking nerd. You're a fucking loser. Anyone who calls themselves, like, a culture warrior is a fucking loser. Remember that. Let's see. Increase rating by +10. uh, by plus or minus 10. The minus 10 is seriously if you hit like critical levels of like you're at like 0 and you're gonna hit catastrophe, you pull your star power out and go to negative 10, so you become a cult classic. So it becomes it's so bad it's good. By virtue of you kind of like eating up the camera a little bit and making fun of the entire thing. Producer requests increase the ratings by plus or minus 10. What else can you use star power for? We go to Henshin Hero. Because star power is a lot more important in reduce their star power of the actor by 1. Yeah, star power plays a bigger. Yeah, so like star power is a lot more important in this particular version. This one, it's not as important, but the pitch is a little bit different. That's kind of the idea. And so this is what your star power can do. Actually, what we can do is we do action scenes first. So action scenes, when the actors need to leap into action to pull off a stunt, an action scene takes place. Action scenes are when two or more characters are opposed to one another. Opposed to one another with a clear set of victory conditions. Victory conditions between them. From fist fights to verbal sparring. An action scene is intense and a pivotal moment in an episode. When an action scene takes place, both characters will roll their dice. Under their trope. Roll their die. Roll the same actor talent. Often action. Under their trope. The more successes scored, the more successes scored, the more successes scored, the action team, both characters, more successes scored, the more damage they will do to one another. Actually, the more how to be a good way, because the idea of like it's the narrative like damage you can do to actually the more limit the more limit they will do to one another. When one character reaches the other's trope value Trope value. Actually, I should say is highest. Others' highest trope value. Trope value. They have been They are considered the victor. They are considered the victor, and gain whatever the prize was. So the idea would be like, let's say I have like a trope of like my largest trope is 6, and their trope is 4. If I roll 4 successes, I'm going to beat them. But if they roll 6 successes, they're going to beat me. That's pretty much it. That's how a competition goes out, and it is possible for both sides to reach each other's values, reach each other's trope values, rendering both defeated. Rendering both defeated. Rendering both defeated. The character with the highest trope value, the trope value will gain the prize. Will gain the prize, but their ego may be wounded. Whoever is completely victorious. Actually, whoever is victorious. Whoever is victorious gains a star power, or 5, or 10 plot power. Or actually, whoever is victorious gains star power or 10 plot power. If it is in ascended Nick, they get +5. They contribute 5 plot power to the total, to the ratings. And again, you can always choose to fail in action. That's the big thing. You can always fail. Don't worry, the collapse of the West will kill you soon enough. No bet. Yeah, pretty much. Oh god, like, I have a very long and... So, yeah, no, Henshin art is fucking gorgeous. I love all the Henshin art. And this will be like my one requirement for any NEN game, is that you have to have this really shitty artwork. This really, I shouldn't say shitty, this amazing artwork where everyone looks like Play-Doh, man. You have to use that particular kind of art and nothing else. This isn't even everything, too, because this isn't the PDF. The PDF has some more artwork in it. Think, Orange, think! I'm always surprised no one noticed what. Yeah, The Last of Us 2, everyone's mad about The Last of Us 2, by the way. Like, that's everyone's just mad about that game now. Even though I've never played The Last of Us 2, I've watched the entire plot summary, and The Last of Us 2 plot's stupid. It's really dumb, actually. I don't know why people think it's like this amazing thing. It's really dumb. Now, here's the thing. If you want the most amusing thing on how... You want to know who does The Last of Us 2's plot better than The Last of Us 2? The idea of like, oh, we have to stop the cycle of violence. Devil May Cry 5. Hey, I watched the entire Internet Historian stream, then I watched the Bricky video, then I watched a full playthrough of the game. See, it's literally, again, that's... Okay, I may do a rant stream one of these days on the fucking Last of Us 2, because I find that plot thing fucking hysterical. But, like, the main issue with The Last of Us 2, The main issue, the crux of the issue with that entire fucking game is that it really wants you to believe that the cycle of violence is bad. Violence is bad and we shouldn't partake in it. But it gives you no option to not do it. So it portrays the characters as fucking psychopaths more than they are like actual deep characters like they want to. Like every piece of message, like where they try to say things, like this is really important about the cycle of violence and stuff like that, is undercut by the fact that every single character has a body count in the hundreds. Like, Ellie by the end of The Last of Us 2 is a fucking delirious psychopath. Abby, to all of them are. Like, they are delirious psychopaths that make zero fucks. While, again, this is why I say, like, Devil May Cry 5 does that thing a lot better, because the entire cycle of violence is just between Dante and Virgil. And it's because of their endless back and forths that we continuously get people suffering from it. And the thing is that it sells it better because you can still mow through the demons because they're demons, but you see the effects of it. You see the effects of Virgil trying to get more power to one up his brother, and why his brother's just kind of, and Dante's, kind of how do I want to word this, lackadaisical approach to it. Like, it's fine, everything is okay, without really understanding like the breadth of consequences that this endless crusade against his brother produces. And at the very end, when Nero's like, you two should really stop fighting or I'll make you stop fighting. And the two are like, you know what? Maybe there is a bigger threat out there. Maybe it's the fact that we just haven't really ever had a chance to actually discuss this as civilized people, and we've been too busy trying to kill one another for literally no reason, but perfectly justifiable reasons, that maybe we should actually, take some time off, which leads to the end of Devil May Cry 5, in which Dante and Virgil go to hell together, which Devil May Cry 6, that's what I'm looking for. Hit me up. But that is the entire idea. We should stop the cycle of violence. It doesn't work with... Now, if Last of Us 2 was a fucking walking simulator, and you killed like 5 people, that would be one thing. But I've seen the videos, the combat videos for Last of Us 2, and I cite them sometimes. I watch a few of them when I really want to get across how fucking brutal a fight can get. Because it can be. The fact that, like, you pop a bitch, that bitch is screaming. He is screaming because he is in pain because you put a bullet. Yeah, the fucking death animations, the fact that people are yelling, and kind of how people move around, like that's what I cite it for. Oh no, it's the cycle of violence. No one gives a fuck about the cycle of fucking violence in that game. Everyone kills. Well, again, the body count for between both of the characters rapidly escalates. And you could have done something with that, fairly interesting. They just chose not to do that. Which is kind of one of the major downfalls of that storytelling. And that's not Naughty Dog's fault. It's kind of like the same thing with the Uncharted series, where, everything's so quirky, like, heh, but then you see Nathan Drake gun down 100 Somali pirates. Like, something is lost here. It gets away with a little bit more in, like, Uncharted, because it's kind of pulpy nonsense, and it's supposed to be a little bit over-exaggerated. And you could always have that wink to camera being like, ha-ha, as you jump around with an AK as you gun down all the evil, mean pirates who want to awake a Mayan death god, but you're also this kick-ass man going bang, 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 bang. Very different than, oh no, we need to stop the cycle of violence, and I need to stop Abby because she killed my dad. Murders a dozen people later, I'm sad about having to kill people to avenge my father. Where's Abby? As you, like, tear out the fucking throat of, like, another innocent person. Like, I'm bleeding. Like, and Abby is no bad. Abby is a bad character. Abby's a bad character because she didn't get the right amount of character development when she needed it. That's the issue with her. That game is not very well put together. And actually, I shouldn't say that. The game is very well put together from a technical standpoint. It is not very well put together story-wise. I feel there were parts of that game that were either cut out or like rearranged for some reason. Let's see. They contribute 5 plot power to the... instantly win a action scene with an ascended Nick. Let's see. Let's do this. Any Nick currently any currently on the character side contributes 1 dice to their checks. Yeah, there we go. So if you have, let's say, 2 Nicks on your side versus them, and you're in a contest with one another, you roll. I beat you, you've beat me, we're gonna do this now. So it pays to have more people on your side. I should say, any relevant Nick. Oh no, we're in a fight. My wife isn't gonna join in on the fight because that's not. Star power. Star power can be spent instantly, but its legacy maintains its effects on the character, on the actor. So the idea is that you can kind of pull that star power a little bit, but you're always going to have that, like, the vestiges of that star power, you could say. It can be, but its legacy maintains its effect on the actor. At the end of the season, the amount of star power, the amount of total star power gained reflects positively on the character for their growth. Actually, let's see, the total star power gained will actually the total star power gained is No, I don't know how I want to word that. I don't think I can word that correctly. The for the total star power reflects positively on the character for their growth. So it's pretty much the idea of, like, if you gain a shit ton of star power over the season, you may spend it all, but you're still looking better. Like, you've done a lot. Like, you've done things that are good. You may not get all the benefits right now. You've already kind of burnt away those little advantages, those little bonuses. But it's just the idea that you have, you still have it. You still had those bonuses. You still risen in popularity. You're just different. Alright, so what we can do is we do that. We go to Saint Wore Snakeskin. We just get rid of you. And then we put action scenes Yeah, no, action scenes, I don't want you to do action scenes like all the time. That shouldn't be like a thing that you're like, yeah, let's do an action scene. That's not really the point. Action scenes are supposed to feel like fairly important to the grand experience of it. Like, this is like a pivotal moment. This is the gunfight in the scene. This is the fight against against the bad guy, or this is that. And there might be a competition for something actually pretty important, like a character death. Like, yeah, we're going to do we kill one? Like, taking our example here for, like, these two might do a competition. Do we kill one or do we not kill one? And if Sergey wins, he's like, we're not going to kill one. We're going to interrogate him and we're going to leave him out here effectively. Little Dima's like, no, we're just going to I just want to shoot this guy because he fucked up. He's a snitch. And so these two go back and forth with one another, and eventually it's like, okay, well, Sergey won or Dima won, and then they get what they want. All right. We're going to put a picture right there. We got star power, and that should leave us in a good place. So this Friday, actually no, this Wednesday, we're going to do the writer's room, and then we're going to do the producer's desk. These are going to be the last two bits. And so we're going to effectively end this entire series on Wednesday. That's the goal. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Feeling pretty good. Oh, Jesus. Who the fuck are you? But yeah, I'm feeling pretty solid. That's all I can really ask for. I will wrap up things here. So Godspeed, good luck. I'll catch you all on Wednesday. So thank you all, and I'll hope to see you then. I am, as they say, away.